It's Black History Month. And although we should show respect and admiration for the African American struggle, for African American people, and specifically Black Muslims, every day, every month, since it is Black History, it is a good opportunity to bring about some of the many events, organizations, movements, ideas, lessons that can be derived from Black history. And hopefully tie it into the immigrant Muslim community, which is usually the majority of my audience, the community that I grew up in, and the community that I'm a part of. Mostly wherever I speak so far, it's been mostly those with DC background and Arab background. But hopefully we'll see that there is some intersectionality. White supremacy is still alive and still well. 55 years ago, Malcolm X, or Haj Malik Shabazz, was assassinated. I don't know how much you know about this figure, but I can tell you for a fact that there's a good chance that the story you've heard about him, if you've heard about him, has been played with, has been altered, right? We've been acquainted with stories that are half-truths and half-lies. His goal for humanity, this was 55 years ago, his goal for humanity, specifically for this country that he was from, was to get people to worship their Creator. And the second part, was people to worship their Creator, and he wanted to dismantle the global white supremacist system. That's what he said. And he was assassinated in that struggle, although he got tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people together to recognize what was going on, to understand the systemic issues and the history of issues in the US, to understand that Islam was part of the solution, if not the solution to racism, to understand that there is a Creator, right? Who Allah was and who the Messenger was, the basics of Islam. To understand that exactly 400 years ago, 2019, 1619, 400 years ago was the first group of people forced into slavery from Northwest Africa and brought here, and a fraction of them were Muslim. So Islam is not new to this land. Muslims have been here for at least 400 years. There are theories about previous peoples, but at least 400 years Muslims have been here. The idea that Islam is some foreign idea is not true. That it's this foreign religion or foreign ideology, that it's here to change or overtake whatever of culture and ideology and systems that we have in place in the US, that's a completely messed up narrative. The true narrative is that Muslims have always been here for a long time, always as a minority, that has been tough going through slavery, and then Jim Crow, and so on. And we still struggle today with mass incarceration and so on. But in this struggle, which has mostly been the African American struggle, and then other minority groups, other peoples of color have had their fair share of issues, including Muslims today, but primarily it's been the African American struggle. Amongst them have risen up leaders that were Muslim and Black, and for that we owe a lot, and for them we can learn a lot of lessons. One example, so it's not too abstract and theoretical, I mean, I'm interested in history, but not everybody is. One example of how white supremacy is still relevant to us today is the fact that many of our textbooks are not accurate and true when they present people of other cultures and other ideologies and other religions and other faith groups, other nationalities. It's very ethnocentric. It's focused on Europe and America, and it's told from the eyes of white people. I have nothing against white people, but that's a reality. That it's not about the truth, it's about a certain worldview. Right? It's ethnocentrism, that the whole world revolves around us. We're at the center of the world, we're the best thing about the world, and everyone needs to follow suit. It started in Europe, but US history is kind of an extension of Europe. So it's the white man's story. Again, nothing against white people. Christopher Columbus, and I hope this isn't taught anymore at schools, but when I was a kid, for a fact, I remember singing this songs and being taught this, so it's like 15, 20 years ago. I know for a fact that some schools still teach this, and some people still believe this, but it's plenty past time that people understand. But Christopher Columbus did not discover America. And I'm just using this as one case example to understand that our textbooks have issues, that white supremacy is still alive. Just one person. But saying Christopher Columbus discovered America leaves out the actual fact, the reality, that this was a country full of people. Imam Jamil al-Amin, someone that we don't know as well as we should have. This is someone who's like 2 generations older than us, someone who's one of those Black Muslim leaders, if not the leader of his time, who's gone through a lot and sacrificed a lot to bring the truth forth, and someone who we should look up to. He said, plain and simple, he said, how can you discover a country full of people? Sometimes keeping it short and simple works. But you can't discover a country when it's habitated from coast to coast, right? And we know what happened to Native Americans. We know what happened since. Just recognizing that the story isn't always as it's, things are not always as they appear. Malcolm X's story is also played with, and so is MLK's. You were taught, I was taught, again, I don't know what you're taught, it's my first time at this school, but I'm kind of generalizing. We were taught that MLK is a peaceful, loving Christian, which is not fully false, it's not fully true. I'll tell you why. And Malcolm X, same time period, similar age, similar struggle, similar issues going on, we were taught, and are continuously taught, that he was the violent, angry Muslim. So you have this beautiful story. Which way are you going to pick? Things are tough, your people are struggling, well, you're going to follow the peaceful, loving Christian or the violent, hateful Muslim. Now that binary, that story is false because it's an insult to both of their legacies. Because MLK was imprisoned 13 times. Martin Luther King Jr., who was peaceful and loving and wanted nothing more than all of America and all of the world to unite and to recognize that racism is an evil, it's poisonous, that's evil, it's toxic, it's unnecessary, that it's not about skin color, it's about your character, right? And never held up arms against anybody, never fought against anybody, was never violent or aggressive towards anybody, had love for everybody. Someone like MLK was put in prison 30 times. And Malcolm X, trying his best to fight for his people, was assassinated. And of course, this isn't really about these two people, this is just case examples to make a point. Immigrant Muslims, right, our audience, can relate a lot to the idea of being charged with being violent, being accused of being violent and hateful and intolerant, when we are statistically the most innocent and most peaceful people in this country and all over the world. 1.5 to 2 billion Muslims on the planet. We're not in charge of, or responsible for, we're not the instigators of violence and war. World War I, World War II were not Muslim issues. The Cold War was not Muslim issues. Iraq and Afghanistan were not perpetrated by Muslims. So don't drink from the Kool-Aid. Don't believe everything you hear and don't absorb it. Just like internalized racism, there's internalized xenophobia. Just as Muhammad Ali was telling people black is beautiful, why would a black man tell a black audience that black is beautiful? It makes no sense, but it does. Because they internalized the fact that they were lesser. They started believing after so many years, and we're generalizing, not every individual, but as a group, people internalize after so many generation after generation of being put under the boot. You're taught and you believe subconsciously that the white person is prettier and more beautiful and more intelligent and more capable and they're better people. And you wouldn't say it, but it's in the back of your mind. Similarly, Muslims today have basically internalized the fact that if we're brown, if we're Pakistani, we're Egyptian, we're Arab, or whatever we are, right? Muslims are from all over the planet, that's another point. We're taught that we're lesser. So therefore, we're just happy to be accepted to some university. It's like, oh, they accepted us. We just want, just please accept us. We're okay, we're good, we're peaceful, we're good Muslims. Why would you say you're a good Muslim? What about everybody else? Bad Muslims? We're moderate Muslims. Why are you saying you're a moderate Muslim? So what does it mean to be Muslim? It means to be violent, to be aggressive. See, it's words, but sometimes words are very powerful and meaningful. So what I want you to do is not to internalize Islamophobia that's going on around the world. Let's internalize some of the accusations and the stories that you hear. Recognize that you are great and you are awesome and you're capable of amazing things. I'm not going to tell you you're perfect just the way you are. These are some of the slogans of our time. Right? People responding to the other extreme. People that are hateful and intolerant towards other people. And others, on the liberal left side, they'll say, you're perfect just the way you are. It's not the best advice, even if it's well-intentioned. That you're great, whatever makes you happy, just do it, right? Nike, just do it. Whatever makes you happy, you're perfect just the way you are, you're great, don't listen to anybody. Again, not good advice. The advice is you're on a constantly, and you should be on a path of constant improvement, but you don't have to listen to everybody, you don't have to believe what everybody's saying, right? You don't have to let people judge you, you don't have to accept people's judgment, because our purpose in life is to worship our Creator, and to be good and right by God. And if it's about the right side of history, then no, Allah is in control of history. So Allah belongs the past, the present, and the future. So you put yourself with Allah, and recognize that we have a great history, and we are beautiful people, with an amazing tradition. We shouldn't accept the stories just the way they're presented to you. We know that we have purpose in life. Purpose is to worship the Creator and serve creation.